everyone. This is Tom, your host for the Hidden Truths channel. How's everybody doing this evening? Well, the live stream tonight is going to be about the war on the United States soil. You know, the war for the control of the United States is now in session. So we're going to talk about that. It should be a good live stream. You know, it all depends on if YouTube sends it out, because, you know, the title may scare them off, or you may have Google in the live stream and stuff. So anyway, if you are in the live stream, just watch what you say, because Google will start erasing messages. But anyway, I gotta wait for a few people to show up. So if you want to fast forward about 3 minutes into it, that's when I start. So talk about some happy stuff. do a little prelude to the riots and stuff. Anyway, the boss and I, we were out there putting fence up today, a fence we had to take down because the county had to come in and move some sand. You know, that blew in real bad like a snowdrift. So we had to take the fence down, and now today we were putting it up and we were talking. And he goes, I don't understand how these people can protest. Don't they have jobs? How do they make the money and stuff? And I said, well, some of them get paid to protest. And then, you know, we're talking about them showing up here and stuff. I said, yeah, you know what it'd be like if we had a bunch of them show up in the local town, which, you know, is a few hundred people, and I wanted to get nasty and say, hey, you know what? We got a bunch of work for you to do. We'll pay you. Come to work for us. Hey, you get your 12-hour day. We'll give you a 15-minute lunch to make sure you can eat a little bit, but you got your 12-hour day, and then we'll promise to do all the protesting when it's done. They never come back here again. Just talking silly shit, but, you know, that's the thing. You got to laugh about some of this. You got to have a good time with some of it, because stuff is about to get really nasty, okay? But as you can see, I don't know if YouTube's going to let this one go. Like I say, I released a short time ago about a call to arms. That's what I called it. And YouTube's clamping down on it. So, you know, that's one thing. You'll know when it happens. Anyway, I see we got a few people showing up. So let's get into the subject. A call to arms. That's what this is live stream's about. And it's going to be what I say at every live stream from now on. A call to arms. Our nation is under attack on our own soil. Okay? All these foreign invaders that were let in are showing their true mission in here. Remember all the military-age men that were coming here by themselves from all over the world, and we weren't supposed to be worried about them? Hey, how's it going? Well, now we see what their mission is, don't we? Their mission is to destroy and take over America. I mean, we allowed a foreign military into our country. But, you know, they're all over social media and stuff, calling for their call to arms. All these cities are supposed to start getting nasty and stuff. All right, this is going to be George Floyd on steroids. This is the thing. The fight has started, like I say, for this country. You can sit there and see what's going on, and this isn't normal. And like I say, this is being done by people that ain't even citizens in our country. Running around waving flags to countries that they don't want to be sent back to. That's what I see. And then the Democrats want to sit there and say they're peaceful protests? Are you kidding me? Anyway, yeah, we need to organize on our side. All right? We need to start locally. Now, out here, you know, it's different. Like I say, we're few and far between out here, but when there's a stranger in the area, everybody knows about it. But you people in the big cities, I mean, if you're in these cities that are blowing up, it's just going to get worse. We need community security. not community watch, but community security, where you have that neighbor, those neighbors that you can count on. Okay. Hey, how's it going? Appreciate everybody being here. You know, this is, I can't like say, the call to arms. This is what's going to throw YouTube off. They just don't like this. People standing up for themselves, okay? My live streams used to be thousands of people. It was crazy. And now I can't even get but maybe 40. You know, this is the thing about these people that are at war. You know, see, these people know they're at war with us, okay? I mean, for crying out loud, they got supply lines. They got logistics. They got financial support. They're a military in here. And over the last 4 years, they've used our country to reinforce themselves, get their plans together. You know, we just let them in. But yeah, they're acting like an actual military with support groups. I mean, you got people dropping supplies off for them. All of a sudden, cinder blocks are showing up. Not bricks no more, it's cinder blocks. I guess they were out of bricks or not. Maybe they're not making them anymore. But, you know, and the cops under assault, like those cops in California that got caught under that underpass. What the hell do you call that? Okay, are these people allowed to defend themselves? Okay, this is leading to gunshots. This is leading to people getting killed. Okay, like I say, those people that are mostly peaceful protesters are actually at war right now. I mean, if Kamala Harris would have got the presidency, they wouldn't have had to do none of this stuff. They would have had to sit there with open arms. But I made a video once that this is their last chance, okay? They realize that America's had enough and their numbers are dwindling. This is their last hurrah. They have to do something. I mean, they're going to get behind the government enforcing the laws, the immigration laws, which they need to enforce on all illegals, not just the hardened criminals. But really? This is what this is all about? I get to hear the New York, the Los Angeles mayor and Newsom, the governor there in California, saying that Trump's the one causing this? How about all the illegal immigration we had over the last 4 years? I mean, these are the people that are rioting in these countries, in these cities. I mean, if they weren't here, we wouldn't be dealing with this problem anymore. See, if we would enforce the law. But Trump's trying to do that. Don't back down. Don't be weak. You got to call out the troops, and you got to call out the troops. Let them stay. Why? We have laws for a reason. No, you have come in this country legally, or you get a work visa and do all the work paperwork you need to do. But no, this ain't a free for all. My grandparents and my parents worked their asses off so they could sit there and flood our country with a bunch of people that don't belong here so they can, no. But see, you guys don't understand. This is a war to take over our country. Does anybody realize that? They realize they're at war. That's all I see. I see the forest through the trees. I see what's going on. Maybe it was my Marine Corps days, but I know a war zone when I see it. But the thing is, these are cowardly people. All the cops got to do is push it back, or, you know, and then the feds come in, or the military comes in just to protect federal property, okay? You know, they're going to have a Iranian embassy crisis where they overtake them and take hostages with the Fed police force, whatever ones are in there. Darren, you yelling so much? Yeah, because I'm pissed. We're at war, dude. You know, when are the average Americans going to find out we're at war? Well, how close does it have to come to your doorstep? I'm way far away from it. We wouldn't have to worry about it in our area until the last part of the United States had to worry about it. But you in a big city, I don't understand what you can't see. Okay, they are flat out showing themselves as enemy combatants of this country, wanting to destroy it and take it over. They're at war with us. Okay? So now it's time for us vets, especially now get back to organizing in local cities. Okay? You need security details. You need to secure the perimeter, whether that perimeter be your house, your neighborhood, or whatever, but you need to start securing the perimeter and watching out for your neighbors. I mean, this is the thing. Well, we can just bring the military in. Okay, let's say this expands to 100 cities. And you say, well, we'll average 200,000 or 2,000 troops a city. Guess what, people? We don't have that many troops. There's not that many ground forces that everybody thinks we got 1 million, 2 million man army that are just sitting in the barracks ready to go to do. No, we ain't got that. I mean, the Marine Corps, when I was in, was only, it was 200,000. And then they 206, and then they downsized it to 50-some thousand, 150,000. But out of that, a third of it's actually combat troops. The rest of it is support. No matter it be the cooks, the bulldozer drivers, the guys in the airplanes, everything in the military is designed to help the guy in the foxhole. That's what everything there is for. So that's all his support he gets. We don't got that many ground troops, and with all the bases we got everywhere. So people are going to have to organize, and people that have the experience. See, us vets, we have the experience. We have the training. We have the ability to secure our neighborhoods, ensure everybody's safe, without getting into politics or trying to become a tyrant. Of course, you'd have some morons there that decided they were going to take control to a new level, but then you just get rid of them. Okay? And the people that are in the platoon or the squad are going to gravitate towards the leader. But anyway, this is what needs to happen. I mean, your neighbors are depending on it. So, yeah, I used to have thousands of people on my live stream. YouTube has shut me down. I guess I got too popular. But see, a message like this needs to get out. A lot of people are not seeing the forest through the tree, or the forest through the trees. They're just seeing all the distractions. They don't see what's really going on. They don't understand how this has been in the planning for years by these people. Everybody was saying during the Biden administration how they're all military-age men by themselves, clean cut, athletic, looking like a soldier. And now we see what they're doing. And then judges saying that they have Second Amendment rights, illegal aliens do. Us Americans don't. But illegal aliens do, and they're arming themselves. I mean, the enemy from within is the enemy we let in. But, everybody needs to do their part. When this war breaks out, when America actually wakes up and says, oh my God, we're at war. Then the whole attitude's going to change. And I'm just going to sit here and say, wow, is that what it took? I don't know what it's going to take. Is it going to take a massacre? These people are motivated. Half of them are probably on antidepressants and antipsychotics, stuff messing with their brain and shit, with no jobs, being told that they're the victim their whole life, and then feel they can come over here however they want and get away with it. I mean, there's a reason we have laws in this country. It's to protect the American citizen. Okay, and I hear these comments, well, just let them stay. Have you ever competed for a job against an illegal? See, not all of us want to be in a nice cushy office making $1 million a year. Some of us are happy with a poor, humble life, getting their hands dirty and stuff. You have to compete with jobs with these jerk-offs. Okay? So it's affected me firsthand. Nobody I love's got killed by one of them. But yeah, job competition. And then I guess there was some Minnesota congresswoman that came out and said she's an illegal. No rights, and they're in office. But don't worry, they got America's interest in hands, just like Omar, right? Just like AOC. Yeah, they got America's interest in that's the number one priority. Omar sat there and stole her way into Congress's time anyway. She technically got beat in the primary. But, they came together and somehow, like Democrats do, we'll just keep counting votes until we find enough votes, no matter where they come from, and no matter if it's been 6 weeks after the election, to get our candidate in. But anyway, the war's coming. The war's not coming, the war's here. And like I say, if you're in a big city that's going to have to deal with this, it's going to be tough. These people are highly motivated, highly uneducated, and got that entitlement mentality that just won't go away. And they don't understand why things are the way they are. Why things have been that way for thousands of years, because it just worked that way. Okay, Rome let barbarians into their kingdom because they welcomed them with open arms. See how that ended up? They are just an excuse for people or not. People come to this country, don't work a day, and get on Social Security. Yeah. And who pays for it? We do. Like I say, the Trump administration is just enforcing the law, doing what the voters want him to do. More than 50%, I know for sure, wants this shit to happen. ICE deportation even harder than it's going down. Now, I made it short. It's amazing. Conservatives protest when the government's not doing its job, and liberals protest when the government is doing its job. But you guys lost, buddy. You lost popular vote and everything. Even with, I'm sure, a little ballot box stuffing like you did, like in California. No Trump is going. No Trump is going without consent because he's a badass like me. The thing is, they talk about the military going to Los Angeles because maybe the White House is starting to see that this is a war. But like I say, if they goes to 100, 150 cities, we ain't got enough troops to cover all that. So who's going to do it? Okay, us vets need to step up. We need to get organized. See, this is the thing. Like I was talking about the other side being completely organized to where they have supply, medical teams. They got logistics. Beans, bullets, Band-Aids. Okay? They got it. And what do we got? We got 200 million of us, or let's say 60 million of us ready to go, but we all go in opposite directions. We need to get organized. We all need to sit there and get our fire teams together. Get 3 guys, get a fire team together. And then build that up to a squad. And then build your squad up to platoon. And have your own standards and colors. So that all the units, all the militias come together as one army to sit there and take on this foreign invasion. Especially if the federal government's going to tiptoe the shit. And then after we get done settling that problem, we'll settle the federal government problem. But right now, what the government's doing to us is a side note, because we got a bigger problem. There's war on our soil. And exactly who tells us that we can't do anything about it? Where does it say in the Constitution? Where does it handcuff the Constitution, handcuff the American citizen at all? Where? If your area is being invaded and by this militant factions that's going on, these enemy combatants, you don't need the cops' help. Good citizens, good able-bodied citizens can get together and dwarf the threat. Get rid of it. You don't need permission from the government to band together and end a problem. Okay? You don't need the government's permission to have a militia. Okay? What is a militia? A militia is a group of, I'll say, able-bodied people, men and women these days, that are on the same page, that are, believe in the Constitution, believe in this government, this country, not the government, believe in the Constitution, believe in the country, believe in their family, believe in their fellow American, okay? And they're willing to bond, that militia is willing to sit there and band with another militia to sit there that thinks the same way to achieve a goal and create an army. But you need to start with the fire team. Then move up to the squad, and then move up to the platoon. But you people in the big cities ain't got a lot of time. Okay, they get these crazies worked up, okay? I mean, I haven't seen another INS raid since this all started, last Thursday or Friday? I can't remember now. Today's Tuesday, isn't it? This has been going on for 5 days. And it's spreading. Mostly peaceful protesters. The government truck came in and started all the people getting all upset. No, ICE came in and did what the president ordered him to do because the voters ordered Donald Trump. See, remember who gives the president authority? The American people decided last election that we were going to give the authority of the office of the President of the United States to Donald Trump. And there were a lot of mandates we set on that. And he's just fulfilling one of them. Hasn't fulfilled all of them, but that's one of them. So he's taking orders from the American people. No shit. We finally got a president who knows who his boss is. But you need to get hard at it. And I'm sure they're looking at the numbers too and realize, God, if we get the whole country worked up and we have riots in 100 or 150 cities, we ain't got enough people to cover that. No matter what anybody thinks, they don't have it between the National Guard and active duty. Okay? With everybody that's out of the country and stuff, we ain't got enough. You're not going to send Motor T up there, okay? You're not going to send a Cook battalion up there. But the one thing about these Marines that went to LA, I was surprised that they came out of 29 Palms. I was at 29 Palms a couple times. When I was there, we did our desert, we call them cats, our desert training there. They're 3-week cats, living out in the desert for 3 weeks and stuff. And the thing is, we do 2 in a row. And I'm just surprised it came from 29 Palms because I guess when I was there, there were a few that I knew that were stationed there full time, but it was mainly, I thought it was more a training base. I realized I thought they would have came from Camp Pendleton. I really am surprised they came from 29 Palms, but that's on a side note. I just thought they would have came from Pendleton. But whatever. So anyway, the government, I think, is figuring out that there's a war. The war has started, okay? It's not brewing no more. They couldn't get their George Floyd moment, so they decided they're going to go for the government's doing its job, so we're all going to get nuts. I still can't believe it. How can you get mad at the government doing its job? How can you sit there being American and support illegal immigration thinking it's going to help you? Where does that mentality come from? Like I say, conservatives, we sat here for 4 years through Biden. They never had to call the National Guard because none of us, we had protests like that. And January 6th was still when Trump was in office. That wasn't even nothing. They want to sit there and compare what's going on January 6th. They're FBI instigators, Antifa and BLM in the crowd, okay? The people I saw breaking windows in the Capitol weren't conservatives, okay? They dress like Antifa. But let's not talk about the facts. But they want to compare that to this. Are you kidding me? Okay? January 6th was held to D.C. Everybody came to D.C. They weren't saying, oh, the whole country needs to have demonstrations in every city. And then you got June 14th coming up. The thing, like I say, these people are at war, everybody. They're at war with us. They want to destroy and take over our country. That's what they were sent here for. We are at war. And imagine being at war with an enemy, and your enemy's too stupid to know it, and you're just allowed to basically do what you want. Oh, a few people may get arrested and get let loose again right away. But can you imagine to have such a weak enemy like that? And that's what they're dealing with. Okay? High-octane fuel, war on drugs. Hey, maybe that's what I should call myself, high-octane fuel. But the thing is, I'm motivated. At least I won't be fighting on a foreign nation's soil this time. I'll be fighting on my own soil. But I guess America's got to wake up first. The government's got everybody so scared that, hey, you guys can't form a militia and get together and secure your neighborhood. You're not allowed to do that. I'm not allowed to get here on say a call to arms, even though the other side's doing it all over, and spread the protests, spread the riots, get it going everywhere. They're doing their call to arms. See, this thing, we're not on the same playing field. So it's time we get on the same playing field. How about the patriots and the vets get together and we have a mostly peaceful protest like they do with our Second Amendments with us, with the same rules the other side has. It's stressful. Having the ability, the knowledge, and the experience and the training to fix this. I always say it's like we're hovering a hot LZ in the chopper, and we're screaming at the pilot to land so we can get down there and help out and do our job. And they just keep circling. There's nothing we can do to get them to land the damn helicopter. And we're seeing what the hell's going on. That's what I feel like. It's stressful. And like I say, I don't care what political side of the aisle you're on, okay? I want to defend Americans and America's existence because we are in an existential war right now. Okay, and this is another thing to consider. We left $85 billion in Afghanistan after that war. Do we want anybody to be able to take over our country with our nuclear arsenal? Do we? It only took 20% of the population to overthrow the mightiest military in the world at the time in 1776. And I would say we got at least 60 million of them people in this country. At least. Their count's way off. You drink what's the question? Oh, you watch what's the question? Question of the day. Trump never pulls out real men. You know, like I say, I was in the Marine Corps during Reagan. First 3 years I was in, Reagan was in office. Okay, I'm a Reagan Marine. Were we high strung? Exactly. The world was a lot different place back then. I never would have thought that this country could have gone down the path it went down. I mean, jeepers cripes. Reagan went over first trillion. Reagan was the first president to go $1 trillion, put the country, God, why can't I talk all of a sudden? $1 trillion in debt on October 16th, 1983. Look where we've gone since then. I mean, we're at war, everybody. We're at war. I wish everybody could see the forest through the trees. It's so obvious to me. Go watch some wartime documentaries and then go see what's going on. Now, I did see that there were shots fired at the National Guard. I don't know. I couldn't get that backed up, you know, but there's going to be shots fired and people are going to get killed. Okay? Because they're at war and they know that people died during the war. America's become so soft that we're not even fighting an enemy on our own soil. There's got to be millions of people in Los Angeles that aren't going for this shit, that have guns or baseball bats or golf clubs or what the hell ever they got. And go out and show these street punks the hell who's in charge of your city. Or anybody else that comes into your city and wants to destroy it. But don't worry, Governor Newsom and Mayor Karen. Trump's in there causing everybody to get nuts. It's his fault. Why don't you just say it's the American voters' fault? It's MAGA's fault. It's anybody who voted for Trump's fault because you told Trump he had to get rid of the illegals. God, I mean, rioting because the government wants to enforce the law. Anyway, craziest world we live in. I just don't understand it. I mean, you look at this and you got a logical mind, and you'd be like, why is it? Well, a lot of these are illegals, but why would Americans join them? Because they feel sorry for them? I mean, you think this illegal that's coming here that wants to rob your life cares what your political affiliation is? Do you think they're going to feel sorry for you when they squat in your house until you get lost and there's nothing you can do about it? Do you think they care? You're an American. They hate you. They feel you're a spoiled son of a bitch that made the world a terrible place and made everybody a victim. That's what they've been taught. And they don't care what your political affiliation is. They just like the weakness of the liberals so they can have their sympathy and get away with what they get support from it. The useful idiots they got. And they're going to turn on them like you wouldn't believe, off with their heads. But see, they still got to get through all us Americans. And if Americans could get on the same page, realize we're at war with these fools, all Americans. But you got these liberals out there who act like the victim and don't realize that they will be the victim if these people they're supporting get their way. I mean, got the old Judas right out front into this dude rocks. Well, I appreciate it. Anyway, like and subscribe. I tell you what, YouTube is being so hard. I put call to arms because I want it out there. Share this video. I got a short out there called to arms. Share it. Share it. Share it. We are at war on our own soil. All Americans need to stand up. Whether you be on the ground, whatever your job is, there's plenty of jobs to do to support the guy in the foxhole. From raising your gardens, raising beef, kept them fed, civilian jobs and military jobs. Okay? But we live in a crazy world. And like I say, this is what we get for not enforcing the law. The chickens have come home to roost. And all the chickens are foreign enemy combatants, military-age men that were let in through the border. I mean, it's all coming together now, isn't it? It was their army. It was the army. You know what all these people are? This is the army that Kamala Harris was supposed to have to take out the American patriot. Well, she did nothing about it. That's what's going on right now. These people have been called. Time to go to war. Yes, we'd still be at war except earlier because this is her army they needed to take us out. Now that army's doing its job. Does it make sense to you? 700 troops. Wow. We'll see in a month how small the number 700 troops is. I love reading the comments sometimes. You know, this is part of the reason we're in here. Hate and discontent, division. I'm not going to get along with somebody. I'm not going to support that guy. Okay? Then the first thing they got to do is go to insults, whatever. You don't have to agree with me. Okay? I'm not putting this out for people that agree with me. That's why I'm on YouTube. So people that disagree with me see this. And I do it to the best of my ability just so they see the title and they'll click on it because it irritates them. It triggers them, okay? I want you guys here watching my content. And when I get comments on it, I write, hey, it got you watching, didn't it? Okay, we all need to get on the same page because they're at war with America, Americans, our way of life. They want to destroy our country and take it over. And then we're going to have a foreign enemy in charge of their nuclear arsenal. Okay? Remember how Joe Biden threatened, oh, you can't take over the government unless you got F-15s, Hellfire missiles, and nuclear weapons? Thank God that Kamala Harris didn't get in charge of the nuclear codes. Free Diddy. I'm not going to get into that, okay? Like I say, that's small potatoes now. Everything else is small potatoes now. This country is at war. The enemy has decided it's time for war, okay? On our soil by a foreign military that was let in. Didn't even need a Trojan horse. They were let in. Okay? So I guess when Americans will all start banding together and the army of Americans will get bigger as more and more people's lives are being affected by this garbage. But eventually they'll start taking over territory. It's coming. You know, they're just going to push a little bit at the time. But like I say, this is their last chance. You know, this is the 1917 Red Revolution. It fizzled out when Donald Trump was elected president. It's the last gasp these people have. And we need to put it down with force. Okay? I know we can never get rid of an idea, but this is not an American type of idea. Okay, this is not, this way of life cannot coincide with the way American culture at all, okay? I'm an American. I know what it feels like to be an American. And all this stuff is just so foreign to me. It has been foreign to me for a long time. But anyway, so like I say, if you're a vet, if you're a patriot, you know, we need to start forming our groups. We need to start protecting, you know, the Minuteman type philosophy. Form our little militias, and then militias start getting together and start forming small armies and stuff. Okay, if we have time. Because I know we don't have enough military to solve this problem. We spend a lot on the military, but it doesn't go to boots to guys in uniform because there isn't that many compared to how much money goes to the military industrial complex. Anyway, crazy times are ahead of us. Like I say, I don't have time for the Diddy, even the Epstein list anymore. You know why? Because we sit, us vets and us patriots, the people of this country band together and we take care of this war that's going on our soil right now, then we'll deal with the government, okay? But, you know, Donald Trump needs to hit this hard. Hard. Come out, declare a state of emergency in the United States. The United States is now at war on its own soil with all these enemy combatants that came in through the border over the last 4 years. Whether it be they were caught and let loose or they just came across. This is the thing. Everybody knows that the number that was caught maybe was 25% of what's actually here. They got enough people, everybody. And then we had the government shipping them all over the United States. Like they say, an army comes into our country, invited in, give them money, and then spread all over the United States. Oh, that is definitely a tactical disadvantage, okay? I'm glad where I live, okay? Because these people they don't stand a chance here. But you're in a big city, and if every American's, you know, if they figure out of every 4 Americans, they got 1 that they're going to have to worry about, the other 3 they're not going to have to worry about, that means they only have to take out 1 out of 4. And the rest of them are going to submit. Anyway, it's tough to see, but I see war. I see it all coming together. I see this is Kamala Harris's army she should have had to take us patriots out while she would have stood there and did nothing. And this is another thing, too. I think there's a lot of actors in this. You got BLM and Antifa, obviously, that are allying with these illegals. But it just smells of CIA. It wouldn't surprise me at all if CIA had a part in this to bring down America. You know, then they can get rid of Trump. You know, this all goes crazy. They can assassinate Trump, take over the government, and put in whoever they want to put in. This is a perfect CIA operation. I see it everywhere. You know, maybe MI6 and what is Israeli? I can't remember the Israeli one right off the top of my head. But anyway, I'm sure there's a lot of three-letter agencies that are just flat out for throwing all over this country that are all willing to help out. Anyway, so America is trying to destroy, we have Americans trying to destroy America too. Why can't they find these people that are supplying the money for the bricks, cinder blocks on the side of the street? I mean, it's the same thing as 2005, 2020. I guess that was just a dry run. And after they sat there, this is the thing. After something like that happens, if it's done a military style or a big business style, all the bigwigs get together and critique everything. How'd this work? How'd that work? How can we make this better? Okay? Everything. So we go about it again, we'll be more efficient. So 2020 was just a dry run. But like I say, they have logistics. They have supply routes. They have medical teams, okay? And they have their foot soldiers. Heck, they have food being delivered to them. They have the chow hall. They have their beans, bullets, and Band-Aids. It's time we get organized, okay? And not just as preppers prepping for my mag or nothing. No. This is protecting your neighborhood, securing your neighborhood, and possibly becoming an army so we can take on this enemy that's just going to get worse. This stuff's going to get crazy. Like I say, wait till all of a sudden next month where 700 troops going to a single city isn't going to seem like a lot of troops. You know, eventually the news will just go away. Anyway, this is what we got to look forward to over the summer. Anyway, you're living in a big city. I would suggest going on a long vacation. I mean, it's not going to be safe. Because eventually they're going to come, instead of rioting in an area, like I say, they'll start taking over areas. Hey, Chop and Chaz, dry run, right? They took over territory in 2020. Except now they'll be taking over whole cities, especially when you have a mayor and saying, hey, don't worry, we got everything under control. These people are cool. We're not, you know, as long as they're allowed to break the law, we'll make everybody happy. Crazy times. But anyway, lovely world we live in. So can't wait to see what we have to talk about next week. But I said in my live stream the other night, it's just gonna keep going and going and going. Keep expanding. All right. So I guess you need to figure out what your position is going to be in this fight, in this war that we got coming. What's your job going to be? Whether it be support or on the ground in a foxhole. And this is the thing. If you haven't had any military training, as in tactics and weaponry and, you know, all that type of stuff, you aren't getting anywhere on the front line, because you're just going to get people killed until you go through your training. Don't think just because you have a gun, that's going to put you on the front line. Okay? It'll just get people killed. This is just all part of the gig. We're going to have our own training depot. Or, you know, a guy like me who gets together, gets my fire team and squad together, I start doing my training. You know, and teach my guys. But whatever, you're going to have to go through training. You can't be a liability to your guys out on the front line. Everybody's got to be on the same page. Everybody's got to know what each other's jobs are. Okay? So that's another thing. All the training we're going to have to do. Both physical and mental. Okay? But we're all going to see how soft this country's got, but I see we're at war. I see the enemy is here. I understand the army she was supposed to have. And now that army is engaged in this country. And the politicians that are still at B, that were in part of this plan, are still allowing it. We may not have the president that's at the helm, you know, allowing this to happen. But we still got governors, judges, you name it. So, anyway, I've gone for almost 15 minutes. This is one YouTube shutdown. So, I tell you what, you know, all these social media platforms, they don't understand. When they take over, all the rich people that are supporting them, they hate you most of all. They think you're the biggest fool of all for supporting them, because they're flat out saying what they want. You guys don't stand a chance, okay? They're not going to let you stay in charge. but you still got them censoring, conservative voice. I'm on here telling you what's going on. I'm out here telling you we're at war on our soil, and we need to, for the fight of our nation. We're an existential threat right now from a foreign enemy in our borders. Flat out, there's no other way of looking at it. I don't see how it's any other way. And anybody that wants to try to explain to me how it's the other way, any other way, then whatever. I'm not going to believe you. I know what I see. Okay? Foreign flags. All of countries they don't want to go back to. The logic of the left. I mean, it will put you head into a whirlwind. I mean, I've gone down rabbit holes and haven't spun my mind as much as I have trying to figure out a liberal's logic, because it makes no sense. Where their human brain is just not functioning properly. It's all about emotion. Really? How about the emotion of the families that have lost daughters due to rape and murder from these illegals? Even a 12-year-old girl. Or families that have lost doing whatever the illegals. Or been crippled because of car accidents, whatever. What about the emotions for those Americans? Oh, yeah, I remember. Democrat philosophy. We're not even going to stand up because that's what Trump supports, and we don't believe in anything Trump supports. No matter how ridiculous it makes us look, we don't care. Talk about people that stand for their immorals. But anyway, we got the army that the Democrats let in here for the last 4 years. We're going to face that army, okay? And let's hope we face it a true American style with grit, guts, and determination. Lead me, follow me, or get the fuck out of my way. And I am not going to wait for permission or a call from the federal government to say, hey, we need help. No, how about us militias get together and say, hey, we'll take care of this. We'll call you if we need help. Otherwise, you stay the hell out of here. And we'll make sure they all get a one-way ticket and a catapult out of our country. And if they want to resist us, well, then they'll get a high-velocity exchange of ideas. They are an invading force, okay? Enemy combatants. A terrorist organization. A terrorist army in our own borders, led in by our own government, hoping that Kamala Harris or Joe Biden would have become president so they could have used it as an army against us patriots. Well, they just sat aside and did nothing and ordered our military to stand down. Does that sound about right? Sure does to me. And now that Donald Trump is getting rid of that army, now they're deciding it's time to act, okay? So maybe they lost a couple of their big generals, you might say, due to deportations because they're real criminals. Whatever. This is organized. This is organized. Every sign. Prepaid, having U-Haul show up and they're passing out supplies, signs, whatever. Their shields. Dressed for confrontation. God, why can't us patriots and vets get together and have just a motivating, mostly peaceful protest like that? I mean, we'll just do a sweep through the town and just have one peaceful, mostly peaceful protest, one sweep through the town, like when you're hunting deer and you do a sweep through a woods or whatever. Do a sweep through the town, chase them all to one area, and just bust them the hell out of here. Do an illegal sweep instead of a deer sweep during hunting. You're doing an illegal sweep, okay? What permission do we need from the government to do this? They're not doing it. Okay, you got the federal troops all there hiding in federal buildings. Engage them. Engage them. You know, it's time to be, you know, what did Teddy Roosevelt said, speak softly and carry a big stick. Well, it's time to, I'll speak loudly. President Trump, you can speak softly. I'll speak loudly and I'll carry the big fucking stick. But there's no way I'm going to lose my country, my freedom, my life to this shit. Unless I'm fighting against it, of course. And there's no way we're going to lose our nuclear arsenal and our military, these boneheads, like we lost $82 or $84 billion in Afghanistan. This is crazy time. Can anybody see the forest through the trees? Can anybody? I can. I mean, these people are flat out saying they're at war with us. They're doing a call to arms, just like I am. I haven't seen another channel on YouTube do it. Probably not, because if one had done it, just like my channel, and they got the brakes put on it right now. We can't have this guy telling Americans what's actually going on. Somebody may look at this video and see it through a different eye now. We can't have that. I mean, the mainstream media should be all over this. These people are at war with us. This army they let in is at war with us. All these military-aged men. Now we see why they were military-aged men. Anyway, I need you to share this video. Go to that short. Call to arms. This is the name of the short, all in caps. And share out that to everybody, whether they're going to like it or not. Because everybody needs to know we are at war right now. Every American's life is in danger due to these people because they don't care about Americans. Because all Americans, to them, every American is a spoiled little son of a bitch that has caused their problems their whole life and just destroyed and exploited the world. Okay? Worst thing in the planet. They all want to come here to live a better life, but that's a subject for another day, right? Anyway, we need to spread the word. The alarm, not the word, the alarm. Okay? Like I say, this is the biggest little channel out there. I mean, I ain't getting crap for views tonight in my last live streams. Well, before the last one I did, but were thousands. 10,000 plus viewers, okay? And this is what deal with the algorithm. Locks it down, right, Google? Because the last thing we're going to do is let this simple little guy, who's, I would say, you know, I had enough world experience when I was in the Marine Corps traveling the world, to come on our social media platform and try to tell people what we're trying to tell them isn't happening. Anyway, if you're in a big city, you're in a war zone. LA, I'm sure it's going to move to Sacramento, San Francisco. Okay, that's 3 cities just in one state. Okay? And say 2,000 troops in each city. That's 6,000 troops. 150 cities, we need 300,000 troops. We ain't got that many. You're going to be getting a call and say, Americans, you're on your own. Say, it's time to organize. It's time for us vets to do, you know, get together. And I'm not talking vets in your neighborhood, the people you can trust. If you got to do the training and teach these guys how to sit there and have military tactics and stuff, and maybe not have the machine gun, but you can go over rates of fire and fire zones and all this type of stuff. You know, the stats on a machine gun. You can still go through that. Have diagrams. This is the thing a lot of people don't understand. A machine gun is not your typical rifle, especially when you get up to the bigger machine guns and 50 cal and stuff, and you got set headspace and timing every time you change the barrel. Instead of like a 50 cal or an M60 or a saw, all you got to do is take the old barrel out and stick a new barrel in, and it's hammer time. okay? Bigger machine guns are a lot different. So you need to know all that stuff. You need to know the strengths of the people under you, where they're best suited. Okay, just all this stuff. It's crazy. But we're at war. We're at war. The Americans have been lulled to sleep so much that they don't even see it. They still got their cell phone in front of them. Hell, the grocery store still got food in it. There's gas stations still open. Yeah, there may be a few protesters down the street, but that's not bothering me yet. Are you going to be prepared when yet comes? Okay, like I say, doesn't matter what side of the political aisle you're on, you are a target to these people. They're going to see you as an American, who they hate the worst. You know, this is the thing about terrorists. When terrorists took over an airplane or whatever, and they decided to start killing Americans, even if they didn't have a military person there they could kill first. They didn't care about your political affiliation. You were just the tool for them to use to get their point across. And we got people actually out there supporting them. I mean, like these queers for Palestine. Really? You queers go there for a day or two. Well, you don't have to go there for a couple hours and you get arrested right away. Okay? And stoned to death. You'd be like, no, I'm supporting you. But you don't understand, fool. You're a useful idiot. And that's what these people are. I mean, Americans joining them, sending their call to arms out. That's all I hear out of this. Call to arms. They're using basically the mainstream media to do it. The mainstream media is sitting there talking about how they're just peaceful protesters, and Trump's coming in all hard-handed and stuff, causing all this hate and discontent. And people believe this. For one thing, they have too many pharmaceuticals, and their brains are mush. Antidepressants and antipsychotics to sit there and give chemicals off in your brain, and then to sit there with clots and stuff, causing brain suffocation in some areas and stuff. Because I just don't know how an average human being can think this way. An American say, I'm for Americans, and all Trump is doing is enforcing the law. And by my standards, he needs to do it with everybody, not just for their so-called hardened criminals they got. I'm so tired of, well, we're getting rid of the really bad criminals. They've been convicted this, that, and the other thing. They got a rap sheet a mile long. It doesn't matter. They come in this country illegally. They already got a rap sheet now, don't they? They already got a felony in the United States. But they're not treated like the average citizen is, who would be cuffed and stuffed and beat the shit out of, no matter if you're white or black, if you cause them any problem. I mean, this is the thing with black people. They think that cops only beat up black people. Okay, what about these areas where I'm from that are predominantly white? And the cops kick the shit out of white people that break the law and start to get nasty with them. But they don't ever see it because the whole world revolves around the big city. Not us little guys out here. That's why I say I can see this from out here. And being in the service like I do, I can see this as a war going on. And Americans aren't woke up. They're just lulled into, this is a riot. This is a protest, or even say it's a riot. But it's a step, it's way past that. It's a war with the army that the last administration let in. So organized people, I know I gotta work on that better, but I need to get my fire team together. I need the people around me that I can trust and stuff when stuff gets nasty and we can count on cover each other's backs. Okay. Anyway, crazy times we live in, and these people aren't going to stop. Okay, they're not going to stop. They're at war. It's now or never, and they look at Donald Trump as weak because he hasn't really done nothing to get rid of anybody except maybe a few of their top people. Okay? You can get all the generals in the world, but people will gravitate towards a leader, and they'll just promote that person to the leader. Okay? So, anyway, crazy times we live in. I'm actually living in the United States during a time when we're at war on our own nation with a foreign enemy that we let into this border, our country, to just get away with it. Imagine in 50 years when people are learning history and be like, how were they so stupid? Because there ain't going to be a mention about, us in there, about the people that are trying to give the warning and say, let's do something about this before it gets too crazy. No, there's not going to be nothing in there about us. Maybe a few of, I don't know, but not going to be a lot of history about people that were screaming, hey, stuff's about to go down. I got a picture sent to me by a subscriber that lives by Fort Bragg. And she sent me a picture of quite a few Blackhawks that were flying in formation. And, if this stuff don't stop, it's all going to, America will find out sooner or later it's at war. And when we find out, the average person is going to find out what their job is going to do to fight this foreign enemy, whether it be support on the ground, whatever. Everybody will figure it out. Because even the people that hate Trump so much will love our country enough when they find out how bad these people are to fight. We can bond together. And like I say, after that war's done, then we can deal with the U.S. government as we need to. A government that made us be in a situation where we had to go to war by letting an enemy in here. Okay? I just can't believe it. Anyway, that's all I got for tonight. It's a few people that are here. If you'd hit the thumbs up, the subscribe button, and the bell notification. And please share my show, especially Call to Arms. We need people screaming it and people reacting to it. Just like their call to arms on the other side to get all these big cities in an uproar, okay? And let's admit it. They take over enough big cities, they could cripple the United States, especially if they had enough people that would supply food. But anyway, it's going to get nasty. We're at war, people. Now America's going to find out what the real world's like. What I got to see when I was in my late teens and early 20s, a small farm boy from Minnesota got to see, small town farm boy. And every American's eyes will hopefully get woken up like mine. And they'll see the world in the United States as a completely different place. Okay? That's all I can hope for. But everybody's got to have their time when the light bulb comes on and be like, he was right. We are at war. And I've been sitting here for a couple months not doing nothing about it, twiddling my thumbs when I could have been getting prepared, getting organized, instead of calling these people maniacs and morons. I understand what they mean by we need to all protect our children and our future. Anyway, times are crazy. So, anyway, I'll try another live stream tomorrow. Boy, I tell you what, YouTube. See, this is the thing, YouTube. You can do this to my channel. But after those live streams I had, when I had 10,000, almost 11,000 views in less than an hour, I know what my potential is when your algorithm don't sit there and do its stuff. But pretty soon the algorithm ain't gonna have to worry about doing its work, and Jeff Bezos ain't gonna have to worry about having anything to do with YouTube, because they're helping the enemy take over. They're letting their call to arms be spread all over social media nonstop. I mean, they're spreading it on the news, the mainstream media, and social media, man, too. But anybody with any sense and say what's going on, they got to be shut up. Anyway, so Jeff Bezos, I hope you enjoy, and Mark Zuckerberg, and whoever the other elites are, Bill Gates. I hope you enjoy the bed you're making, because it's going to get filled one day with a lot of people you hate that are kicking your ass. Money's not going to save you. Position's not going to save you, because these people hate you most of all because you're a rich bitch that made their life miserable and just a fool to help them out. And then they'll take everything you got anyway. This is what I mean. These people are stupid. Helping the army that Biden and Harris led into this country. Helping that army. The army that's going to destroy it. Okay? Why don't you just go sit there and hit yourself in the face with both fists until you just fall over dead. Okay? Because that's what they're going to do to you. But you know what? Whatever. We're going to have to fight. And when the fight does come together and it comes on, it ain't going to matter. Okay? But the war's here. Everybody enjoy. Make sure you get prepared. And when you realize that the war is going on, you'll find your place in it. Okay? It could be on the other side supporting the illegals that want to take over our form of government. Anyway, crazy times. Boy, historical times. Times that I'm going to be able to sit there and tell my great-grandchildren one day while they're sitting on my knee. You know, be looking in history books. How do people get so crazy? Just like I used to watch World War II history documentaries. Trying to figure out how the Germans were so stupid to allow this to happen to an intelligent, cultured people. You know what? They did the same playbook here and it worked. It just, we got woke up on the last election. But the army was still here, okay? You're not deporting the illegals. You're getting rid of a foreign army in this country. Anyway, if the government doesn't want to do it, well, with this call to arms, there's nothing saying the civilian population can't do it. So I guess we got the chore delegated to us. Anyway, I appreciate everybody being here tonight. I gotta go. So, but tomorrow night we'll try to live stream. Maybe they'll pick up more. But you know, I tell you what, when that algorithm gets in, it's just when you got politicians, social media, mainstream media, all supporting the army that's trying to, the CIA. All supporting the army that's trying to take over this country. If you love this country, it's time to call alarm. Call alarm. That's all I got to say. Anyway, share this video, share my shorts. It's time we get down to business and we get organized. So when our leader does show himself, we have something to give him, okay? Instead of George Washington having to form his army, let's give George Washington an army this time. There's enough of us vets out there to do it. Anyway. Yeah, so all I got to say is YouTube in the garbage, you're watching us. If the other side can get on social media and say call to arms and spread this shit everywhere, I have a right to call to arms to America to stop this shit from spreading. Okay? I have the same abilities that they do. I will fight this war just as nasty as they get. Okay? And anybody who tries to stop me from doing what they're allowing the other side to do tells me who they're allied with. Okay? I wish all Americans would get together and create a channel and just do one video about how they feel about this in the government, whether you're for it or against it. You'll find out if you're an ally or the enemy, like I do. So it's crazy time. It's crazy time. But try to enjoy as much as you can before then. I got a great job, and I enjoy it as much as I can, because I realize that probably it's going to be back to the Marine Corps days here sooner than later. But whatever, I'll be fighting on my own soil this time, not a foreign soil. That'll just be a little bit more extra motivation, I might say, knowing that my kids and my grandkids are in the same country that I'm fighting for their survival too. And they happen to live in a blue state. So anyway, things are great. Anyway, I appreciate everybody being here tonight, and I will see you guys tomorrow night. This is Tom. I'm out.